Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, I'm going to be talking about how I found my voice, how I found my vibe, my singing vibe, that sweet, beautiful sound, that vibe that you enjoy when you hear me sing. That sound, I'm going to be telling you how I found it. So, I started gaining confidence to sing in front of people when I was in secondary school. And I used to listen to a lot of Rihanna then, and everybody was always like, "Oh, you sound like Rihanna. Oh, you sound like Rihanna." And I'm like, "Okay, that's good. I sound like Rihanna. I love Rihanna, so of course I want to sound like Rihanna." Well, it's not like I was intentionally trying to sound like Rihanna. I don't think I was intentionally trying to sound like Rihanna. It was just because she's the only one I listen to, so I'm going to sound like her. So yeah, everyone was saying I sound I sounded like Rihanna, and I took it as a compliment because if you sound like Rihanna, that means I sound good. I'm not singing rubbish. Until I met one lady, her name is Azizat. She used to be one of the biggest or most popular or whatever female singers at one point. When I met her, it's like she had ended her career or something. I didn't even know that she was once a superstar until someone told me, people around told me that, oh, Aziza, she was once this, she was once that, but I did not know who she was, but I knew she could sing. So she heard me sing and she was like, why do you sound like Rihanna? That is wrong. You're supposed to sound like yourself. You're supposed to sound like Toju. Let's find who Toju is. So I spent just a week with her. It wasn't a very long time. It was even up to a week. I don't know how long it was, but it wasn't a very long time. I spent those times with her and she was trying to help me find my voice. And at the end of it, we went to the studio to record the song I wrote. And at the end, I still sounded like Rihanna. I was just sounding like Rihanna, but I was like, I think I sound good. I don't know. I think I sound good. And then, now my voice sounds so soft and like, mellow and stuff like that. But then my voice was very strong and loud and active. My voice is still very strong and loud and active. If I want to sing big, if I want to go Christina Aguilera on you, like you can't handle it. I can be her Jennifer Hudson straight up, and I can also be Simi, that kind of vibe. So yeah, I still sounded like Rihanna after recording the song, but I didn't mind because I'm like, if I sound like Rihanna, I must be sounding good. I must be doing something good. But then when other people heard the song, they're like, "Oh, you sound like Rihanna. Oh, you sound like Rihanna. Oh, you sound like Rihanna." I started to get tired. I love the girl, but please, I don't want to sound like Rihanna again. I want to sound like Toju. So I was like, "What am I going to do?" So I stopped listening to music. I stopped listening to Rihanna completely. Like I stopped, cause I listened to her. I still listen to her, but not as I used to listen to her. Like I was actively listening to this girl like every freaking day, but I stopped listening to her as much as I used to. I stopped listening to anybody very like closely because I didn't want to sound like them. Yes, you get inspired by the people that you listen to. That's how you formulate your sound and your own vibe and your own person. But I felt like it was getting too much, so I had to like relax a little bit and try to like figure out who I am. And I was still very young. All this happened while I can't remember the age I was, but I was not up to 15 years old. So I was thinking about all these things when I was a baby. Very weird child. So yeah, I stopped listening to music. And then I started to listen to Sinach because she had a strong voice and I had a strong voice. People always told me that, oh, you had a strong voice. So I was like, okay, let me try to, listen to someone who has that kind of voice and, try to learn. But then somebody told me, you sound like Sinach somehow. I'm hearing one Sinach vibe from you, and I stopped listening to Sinach. I'm like, there is no way. I'm not. Oh, what happened to my camera? What's going on? But anyways, I was like, there is no way I'm sounding like another human being on this planet. I am going to sound like Toju. So I stopped listening to Sinach. I stopped listening to music completely. I still listen, like I said, but not too much because I didn't want to get too influenced by their sounds. Do you get? So that was it. After that phase, I was still sounding like myself. I was just singing. Sure, I was singing. I wasn't really too bothered about. I stopped bothering myself about how I was sounding, but I know that I stopped listening to music for years. I stopped listening to music, not only because I didn't want to sound like anybody else, but because I was trying to focus on something else. That's another story for another day, yeah. So, yeah, um, after my old Rihanna phase, I took a break from anything music for like a very, very, very long time, like years. And then when I was finally ready to go back to it, I went to the studio. And prior to that time, prior to me going to the studio, I started listening to some kind of different vibes. I started getting into Bob Marley a lot. Not because of the reggae part of it, but because of the content of his songs. His songs are very powerful. So I started listening to a lot of Bob Marley to help me with my writing. I started listening to a lot of Passengers because I was influenced by somebody to be listening to all these depressing songs, those kind of vibes. So I started listening to a lot of, indie folk, all those kind of passenger people songs. And I started listening to Johnny Drill. I started listening to some weird kind of music, yeah, and that was influencing me, but I hadn't really written any songs because, like I said, I took a break from music. It was just what I was listening to at that time. So when I got back to the studio, I wanted to write a song. I wanted to record a song, and I just went there and I started spitting fire. Like my voice was so strong, and then thank God for the people around me. Then they were trying to help me to package everything very well. So this particular song that I went to the studio to record after so long, I recorded the song over and over again because it wasn't sounding right. And then they brought in another producer to work with me. And this guy did this thing. And when it was time for me to go to the recording booth to sing, I started singing as if I don't have voice. Like I was singing small, small, softly, and it was just because it was the first take. I used to in my mind I used to be like, okay, it's the first take. You just vibe to it, yeah. You just sing. You don't really show yourself like that. You just get yourself prepared for the real thing. So I just sang so softly, like I wasn't like doing being all Christina Aguilera like I used to be. I sounded so softly in that song. That and then the guy was like, "Wow, that's beautiful. We're done." And I'm like, "We're done? Just one take." I'm like, I didn't even sing because I sang it. I sang it. Told you. Yeah, what I was singing, the voice sounded very, you know, soft and calm, and that was so unlike me. I have never ever sang like that in my life. Like it was just too soft, and I wanted to like show myself that I have a big voice and I can climb up the scale and down the scale. I like showing myself. But the guy was like, no, 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 this is fine, this is very, very okay. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he did his thing. And then when I came back to the studio, there were a lot of people that knew me in the studio. And then they played the song and they were like, "Is that told you? Oh, this is so nice. It's so better. I like your voice like that. I like your voice like this, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, okay, you like my voice like this? All right. I didn't really like put it to mind because I didn't like it because I felt like, why am I sounding as if I want to put someone to sleep? I'm sounding as if I'm drawing someone into the dream world. You get? I want to sound like attack you. Like when you hear my voice, you wake up. That's how my voice used to be like. It's still like that. If I want to be like that, I be like that. Especially when I'm singing in church. When I'm singing in church, I don't use my Olamide voice. I use my voice. I use that voice to sing. You get when you hear my voice, if you are sleeping, you wake up. So, anyways, yeah, people really liked the way it was sounding, but I just had to leave that studio space because there were a lot of things going on that was just distracting. It was distracting me for the purpose of me going there, which was to sing. So I I didn't really record any song. I recorded one song after that. till I moved to Lagos. And when I moved to Lagos, I met another producer and we worked. And I didn't use that soft voice that people were telling me that, oh, your voice is so nice. I like this vibe. Continue singing like this. I didn't use that. I went back to my strong voice. And then the song was nice. It was okay. But it wasn't me. And after I recorded that song that wasn't me in Lagos, I came back to Delta State and I found this producer, the producer that I'm working with right now, SD. His name is SD. I went to the studio to record this song. And when I went to the studio, this thing happens to me, yeah. It used to happen to me, not anymore. Um, when I go into a studio and maybe it's the first time I'm going into that particular studio, or maybe it's the first time I'm meeting those people, my voice used to be shy. So I usually sing very, very softly in the first take. Do you get? So that's what happened when I went to SD studio to record Olamide. I went to the studio, we did everything, and then when it was time for me to put in my vocals, I was singing so softly, and he liked it. Although it was like, your voice is very low, increase volume, increase volume. But then he did not understand that my voice was still shy because that was the first time I was meeting him. I don't know, my voice used to be scared. It needs time to, to be comfortable. So he didn't know that that was the reason why my voice was so low. Even now, he still complains that my voice is low, but I don't know, whatever. But then my voice was really low, but then it came out very nice. Like it sounded very, very amazing. And then we did it again and again and again until we got all the takes he wanted. And then when the song came out, I was like, this is nice. This is not me. This is not the voice that I would like to sing. I want to show off. But this sounds very nice. So I did it again in my second song and then in my third song. I just kept on doing it because everybody enjoyed it. When I was singing the way I was singing before, people liked it. People, what's the word? They acknowledged that I had a very unique voice and they were like, oh, your voice is so strong, your voice is this, your voice is that. But when they heard this my new style of singing, they were like, they they did not just what did I just say? They did not just say, oh, your voice is nice. Oh, it's they had their body reacted. Their body reacted like, what's that I hear? It's making me feel some type of way and I like it. When people heard this my new style of singing, their body, their mind, their soul, every part of them reacted to the song and I liked the reaction that I got. So after that day, after getting such reactions and I'm like, okay, this is it. I have to continue with this style of music, this way of singing. So I started listening to people who are in that line of music who sing like that and I started learning from them. And I was not scared any longer to listen to other people's music because I already know how I want to sound. I already know what works. I already know, the vibe of the whole thing. So now I can listen to not all the time, not all the time. I cannot listen to people's music too much because when you listen to people's music too much, believe me, you will not know when you write a whole Justin Bieber song and you think it's your song. That thing has happened to me. I wrote a song like when the last album Justin put out. I was listening to it like I was just listening to it all the time. And one day I was like, oh, let me write a song. I got distracted there. One day I was like, let me write a song. And I wrote a song. And I thought that, oh, I've written one fine song. And when I was singing it another time, I'm like, wait. Then I put on the Justin Bieber song and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I've written Justin Bieber song. Thinking it's my song. So it's not really that healthy to be listening to other people, especially when you are preparing to write songs, especially when you are trying to work, like You can listen to other people, but not too much because you will not know when you be adding Beyonce inside your song. You think it's your own self, or it's someone else's property. So yeah, that's it. That's how I found my sound, though. That's just how I found my sound. I don't even know if everything I've said here made sense, but there's obviously more to the story. But this is just like a summary of the whole thing, of how I got there. Like everything I've said, I can pick out like 2 million stories out of everything because at every stage, so many things happened along the way. But yeah, that's how I found my sound, this beautiful sound that you are enjoying. Yeah, so if you've not heard this sound that I'm talking about, you have to go and hear it. The link of my Spotify is in the description. So you just go and listen to Olamide, listen to Impossibility, listen to The Way, listen to Prayer, all these beautiful things that the Holy Spirit has inspired me to write. So yeah, that's it. I think that's it for this video. So I'll see you in another video. Bye.